Hi guys. So we just had our first team Zoom wind down and we got hacked. So that was fun.
Oh my goodness. It was horrible.
Yeah, talk about
Conan, it wasn't Conan.
No, it wasn't Conan.
It was
Quite interesting. We won't go into that, but the intention was to record the call and then post it so everyone could watch, but I don't think anyone wants to see what happened. So we are
see it again.
Yeah, it was disturbing. So we are going to just do a quick synopsis and of what the call was about, and then we will give you the contact information. I'll post on our social media the contact information for all of the guest speakers today, as well as the statistics that we discussed in our meeting today. So first we had Aloha Mondays, which is one of my favorite places on the planet.
Yeah.
If I could afford it, I'd probably...
We wanted to showcase a local business each week, so...
Yeah.
They're keeping us well fed.
When I get really rich, I'm just not going to cook ever again. And they're going to cook for me. Anyway, so they have catering. They're not doing catering right now because of the whole COVID thing. But they do lunch and dinner Tuesday through Fridays. And they do deliver lunch if you order at least a minimum $75. And this is something I didn't know. They will deliver outside of Hilo for a small fee. So that's pretty cool.
And you can pay online.
Oh yes, and you can pay online. That's something new as well. We also had Len Pagan. He's a lender.
What? With a line mortgage, and he talked about some of the changes in the mortgage, originations, and he said they're still putting purchases ahead of refinances. One of the most interesting things that he taught me was that appraisers have been doing drive-by appraisals, and he said that that's an appraiser request, and they have to go back to the lender and ask him or ask them if that's okay, and the lender asks the seller and the buyer if that's okay. Well, we don't have cookie cutter neighborhoods in Hilo, so maybe not the best plan. But that was interesting. He also talked about credit score requirements, and basically if you need to kind of be 660 or above. There are very limited programs less than that, but you need to go ahead and apply, because sometimes there's things that you can start doing to improve your credit score, but it seems like it's very credit score driven. Purchases with mortgage insurance, the mortgage insurance has gone down, and then the more risk they see, the higher your points are going to be.
Mortgage insurance is going up.
I'm sorry, up.
Mortgage insurance is going up because, of course, it's a little bit of a unknown time right now, so
they want to increasing.
Yeah, so it's essentially more risky. So the mortgage insurance is going up. So if you do have a conventional loan, if you're getting a conventional loan, you want to try to put the 20% down if possible to avoid that extra MI payment.
And some of the loans last week were even trending as below 3%. And I had a friend tell me they got one under 3%. So,
but it's super volatile right now. So what you're quoted in the morning could be totally different even an hour later. So locking the rates are kind of
a good idea.
A good idea if you're getting a really low rate, but it is kind of like a little bit like Vegas at this point with locking your rate, but the rates are really still low, which is awesome. We are hearing that you may have to pay more points up front. Again, just to excuse my dog in the background. Again, just because it's the market is becoming more risky, and less investors buying the securities, right? Is that what he was saying?
Well, when they bundle them, their yield is less, so they need to, for the riskier loans, they need to make sure that if there's default, they got a bunch of money there to make it worth their risk. So that's that in a nutshell. The
self-employed stuff we should talk about.
Self-employment people are going to be more scrutinized, that's for sure. One lender told me they're only going to start considering 75% of your income, it's based on a 2-year average, right? So you can expect that you're not. And then, there are people with alternate jobs that they've found, and they're not always going to blend that income in with it.
But Len says that if you are self-employed, it's still possible to get a loan. So it's not hopeless. Don't get too upset. You just have to prove a little better. Probably need to provide more information about how you're actually generating that income, but still possible.
One other point he and I were talking about was that during these kind of fluctuations in the market, especially with the stock market gets goofy, then we start seeing investors coming back into the market. So you can expect that because they want to put their stock market money into hard assets. So we expect some of that.
Someone the other day mentioned something, I don't remember if it was a question or a statement, but they were asking whether they could use unemployment income to qualify for a loan. And I have checked with more than one lender and everyone says no. But I don't know where that person heard that information from, but moving forward, they are going to do more of like an average of the past 2 years and not use the months that you were unemployed. They're not going to weight those as heavily. Is that correctly? Is that correct? How I understand
more
it?
so for salaried employees, once you go back to work, they're not going to penalize you for the COVID layoffs.
And so we talked about the mortgage insurance premiums. Those are for the lenders. They're not for you. They're not insuring you. So just to clear that up. And then
20% is always best. 20% down payment is always best.
And I think we touched on this a little bit, but so most of the lenders that I have been talking to recently are prioritizing purchases over refinances. So refinances might be taking a little bit longer than they usually take. Normal purchases should still take about 45 days, but maybe you should allow a 15-day possible extension. And appraisals are taking about 3 weeks after they're being ordered, but it seems like those are getting a little faster too, right? So sometimes
he's saying closings aren't being delayed, really. 45 days plus a 15-day extension should still do it on a purchase.
And then
your government loans are still awesome. VA, FHA, rural development, those are still real good for people that don't have 20% down.
And then we'll just go over the stats real quick about the HELO side. Mom, you want to talk about it?
During the last 3 weeks, we've had closings, and we haven't had. There doesn't seem so far like things are falling off. In the first week, for the week of 4/6 to 4/11, which would be the week before Easter, there was 4 sales in HELO, and the median price was $516,500, and we saw 37 contingent properties at that point. The next week, the 9 sales closed, and the median price fell to $390,000. And it's a very small sample, but the contingent sales were still 37. So that means that we had 9 homes went into contract to replace the 9 that closed. So the week after that, there was 6 sales, and the median was 365,000. So if you remember what I just said, 390 one week, 365, 516 one week, 390, then 365. So those last 2 weeks, those are local buyers. 99% of the time, I bet those are going to be local buyers. If we just had that small sample and that was going to be what we live with, we'd have over 2 years of inventory in Hilo. HPP that first week, 4.6 to 4.11.
HPP is Hawaiian Paradise Park.
There were 7 sales and 16 contingent. I don't think that's right though. That doesn't sound right. The median price on a sold property was $297,500, and the contingent properties were $322,500. And the next week, which was the week after Easter, there was 5 sales. The median $241,000, contingent $41,000. So that's why I'm saying 16 doesn't sound right. And then the following, and unless I look that week, we don't know how many there's contingent. It's not like I can look back in history and tell how many were contingent. The MLS didn't work that way. For
MLS peeps, maybe we can have that added on.
Huh? Oh, yeah. The week of 419 to 425, which is last week, there were 7 sales in Hawaiian Paradise Park with a median price of $340 and 48 contingent. So actually, that would mean we replaced that 7 and another 7, right? So we're still having good activity, but if you look at the price point there, that's our local buyers still in the market. Smart place to be right now. But if you were to just look at that data, then there would be about 2.6 years of inventory in HPP, and that's assuming nothing improved. But I don't think that's going to be what happens. We're holding back a lot of our listings because we don't want days on the market to tick up. So if you're in the market and you want to know what we've got coming up, give me a call. I can tell you. And I'm not the only one doing it. There's going to be a flood of new listings. Listings last week were down 40%, or this month they're down 40%. So we're going to have a flood of new properties on the market, and likely pricing is going to be adjusted at that time. It's not going to show up on price reductions. However, sellers that are on the market now need to sell. That's pretty
most
much
likely, or they're not in communication with their agents or something. There's a reason why they're on the market.
And they're possibly more flexible than some of the new listings will be, because that price differential is going to be priced in already. Most of our buyers in Hilo are end users, meaning they're going to live there. Hawaiian Paradise Park, we are always see a mix of off-island buyers, and generally at the higher price, and local buyers. So that's always something to keep in mind. And we talked about the stock market. We're not seeing, it's too early to see if we're going to have a bunch of foreclosures. We're having some people talking about, selling because they're getting nervous. But unless this thing drags on, they have other options. A lot of the people with short-term vacation rentals are now putting long-term tenants in there on a month-to-month basis, so they can pull them off if they get ready to sell, or when the vacation rental possibility opens back up for them.
Forbearance, you talk about that.
Forbearance, you have to call there is a website, forbearancereport.com. And what forbearance means is if you own a property, you can call your servicer and ask them for 90 days, that's what they're doing right now, where you don't need to pay your payment, but it's still going to be due. So forbearancereport.com lists a bunch of servicers, and they'll tell you what their policies are. I've heard that some of them are just going to set your mortgage. Others are going to require it to be due in 3 months, all one time. But the bigger thing is you want to make sure you understand how it's going to affect your credit report. And so therefore you need to either go on forbearancereport.com or call your servicer and ask them those questions.
Because we have had instances where people are doing the forbearance and then quote unquote missing a payment on their credit report, but so then all of your credit cards and all of that sort of thing, those interest rates will go up. Even
they could reset the interest rates. They could affect your credit score. There's all kind of things that, because now if they're modifying your mortgage, that's not paid as agreed. So you need to ask those questions. There's no set answer to what they're doing.
And then this morning we spoke with Kim at Provision
Oh, wait, one more
Solar.
thing,
Sorry, back to the forbearance thing.
Tenants, if you're not paying your payments, they're still due. You need to make sure you understand that. Even though they can't start eviction, that money that you owe is still going to be due to that landlord. So keep that in mind. Okay.
So this morning we had a big meeting with our local board, and Kim from Provision Solar was on there.
Virtual meeting.
Yeah, we had our virtual meeting, and that was interesting. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but she said that the inquiries for solar are up 50%, and I guess everybody's home, so they're racking up the electric bills, especially since we have much higher electricity costs here on the Big Island. But she says that there still are tax credits where you can get up to 60% of the cost.
Mm-hmm. Up to 60% can be used as a tax credit. So, and generally tax credits you can extend over a number of years. So construction workers are still essential workers, so they can still do your installation for you. Or if you're doing a refi, which a lot of people are doing, then you can, they have pretty good loans though, it's Provision too, but you can pull money out and pay for your photovoltaic or your solar system.
And then another thing that we've been hearing a lot is that people are starting. My dog. People are.
Sorry.
Would you like to start that?
Yeah, there's also a trend. We've had this trend for several years now, that people wanted to live in the city core so they could walk to everything. In fact, I was talking about Zillow Talk, which is a book that came out, 4 or 5 years ago. It's a very interesting book, and they even recommended moving close to Starbucks, that's where your values are going to be highest. We can't really do that in Hilo, or you'd live in Home Depot. So, but the other thing is now that's changing, as things always do. People are going more back to the suburbs, which also trends towards our investors coming here, or we've had a lot of some buyers that have called us because they feel safer here. And we've had that before. This is not the first time I'm seeing those calls coming in. So overall, we're looking pretty good, as long as this thing doesn't continue on for a long time. We've had some practice with the lava flow and with 911. People are scared to fly after 911 for a period of time. And then when the lava flow came, we closed down basically the economy of Pahoa, and it's pretty much back to normal. And so we got to make sure that people are not afraid to fly, and the rest people just have very short memories. And of course, there's always a demand for housing, right? And who doesn't want to be in Hawaii? So there you go.
And that's the synopsis.
This is a dog, not an anteater, by the way.
Yeah. Next week we're gonna have another video Zoom meeting. Hopefully no hackers. we're gonna talk about 1031 exchanges because some of the rules have changed right now temporarily. And what was the other thing we were talking?
Commercial properties
Oh.
and how that's going to trend. And then the other thing too I wanted to talk about today, and I forgot, was home inspections and how you can use those to your advantage.
So add that on next week.
Yeah, we're going to add that on next week. Yeah.
Okay, and then as always, I'm gonna, like I said at the beginning, I'm gonna put little stat charts and our notes up on social media so you can look over those and give us a call. You know how to reach us. So.
Yeah, and now you can be prepared. We have real good virtual presentations for our listings, and you can also call and see what we got coming up, see if something fits your profile, and we'll work with you with even if you have poor credit or lower credit score, so we'll work to get you ready to go when it's time.
And I don't think I said our names in the beginning. I'm Nui. I'm one of the buyer's agents for our team, Team Nakanishi, and then Danny is the other buyer's agent. This
And
is
I'm
the
Denise
boss
Nakanishi.
lady. The boss lady,
Oh,
Denise
Denise
Nakanishi. And this is Angel Pangel. Thanks, guys, for watching, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Aloha. Hey, aloha.